Hi there, and welcome to the second episode of It's Worth a Discussion. We are so happy to have you back with us if you are coming back, and if you're joining us for the first time, welcome. So today I have with me my family. I'm so super excited because we are going to talk about Insecure. We are so excited to talk about Insecure. So listen. Before I even get started and before we jump into anything, if you don't know about Insecure, Insecure is a series that was showing on HBO starring Issa Rae. And it was just about how she was just navigating through life and relationships and friendships and so on and so forth. So we just want to kind of dive into that and just talk about how it relates to our own lives. And as you can see here, I got my nieces with me, I got my sis with me. So we kind of want to hit it from a few different perspectives. If you've never seen Insecure before, though, I just want to let you know that it's for mature audiences only. So viewer discretion is highly advised if you decide to go back and watch it after watching this podcast. So welcome, ladies.
Hi.
Hey.
I'm so excited.
Hey.
I'm so excited to have you guys here talking about this show. So it's been almost a month since season 5 aired, and it is done.
It's been an emotional time.
Yes, it is an emotional time.
I'm still grieving.
Yeah,
Definitely still grieving.
It's pretty rough. It's pretty rough. But shout out to Issa Rae and to all the writers and the directors that had an input in the show. You guys did a phenomenal job. Phenomenal. So hopefully you guys will see this podcast and know that you did a really great job. It really hit home. I know that there were several episodes that I watched and I just felt what the young folks say as triggered.
Triggered.
I felt
For
triggered.
sure.
Ooh, for sure.
For sure.
So let's jump right into it. So how did you guys feel about the series overall?
It's definitely been one of my favorite shows, and I am a show junkie. Like, I watch tons and tons of TV, but to see something that I can kind of relate to on TV and see Black women in a more positive light, and you get to see the ups and downs of just friendships and relationships.
Yeah.
Has been super refreshing, and I'm just gonna miss them.
Yeah.
That was like my other family. That was my other family. That's the only reason why I ever look forward to Sundays.
Honestly.
Because Sundays are always depressing, but Insecure, I'm like,
And to wait up till 10 o'clock.
Right.
Come on. It's love.
right. Top tier show. Top tier.
What do you think, Glenn?
Kind of piggybacking off what Noelle said. It was relatable, and like she said, it was refreshing to see Black women in a new light, and it was refreshing to see an awkward Black girl because
You felt seen.
I felt
You felt seen.
You know, but no, really, like honestly, just being awkward on screen and it being okay. And I remember watching, I want to say it was the documentary where she said that somebody at HBO wanted to where they were like, well, these girls don't seem like they should be insecure at all. You know, they got a lot going on. Like, Molly is a lawyer and everything.
Right.
And she was saying that's the point. Like, she wanted to change the narrative around the fact that even if they're in successful positions, like, these women can still be insecure, and they are. They still have these deeply rooted things that they're trying to accomplish every day, just the same as anybody. And that was very refreshing because I didn't even think about that.
Right.
You know, and
You stepped on one of my questions, but
I'm
that's
sorry.
all right.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. What do you think, Camille? How did you feel about the show overall?
Overall, I like the show. I was a late comer to the show, so I didn't even know what its air date and time was. Like, its normal air date and time, because I binge watched it.
Me too.
Like maybe like about 2 years ago is I think I had heard of it, and and I stumbled across it on my Fire Stick somehow. And I was hooked from the first, second. So and again, like agreeing with both of the nieces said, that it's refreshing to see Black women, portrayed in a very real, it's scripted, but it didn't always seem that way. The subject matter was very real, and the reactions from the characters, were very real and relatable. So that's probably what I appreciated most about it. And then to the point what Lana was saying about being awkward and insecure, and when you look at those characters, Molly or Tiffany or even Kelly, they didn't seem like they were insecure or awkward, but it just speaks to everybody has that inside, and whether it resonates with anybody or speaks to anybody or is visible, to anyone, everybody inside has something, that they're dealing with, and it might not come across like that, but when you're, with yourself, by yourself, and in your own head, I have plenty of awkward moments. I have plenty of insecurities. So it's, it just speaks volumes.
That's good. That's good. And I wanted to piggyback off of what you said. First of all, I was also a latecomer. I think I had watched a couple episodes while I was at the hairdresser, and then later on, I binge watched. Season 5 had already aired and everything, and then I binge watched it between the week of Christmas and New Year. And when I tell you I binge watched, I was up until like 3 o'clock in the morning sometimes, because I couldn't stop. Like I would say one more episode. Like my eyes are on fire. But
next thing you know, you on season 3.
I'm on season 3.
And it's Wednesday.
And it's Wednesday. It's Wednesday. And, luckily I had taken a couple of days off, but my eyes were on fire.
But it was worth it.
Because it was definitely worth it. And then, to piggyback on what you guys were saying about seeing Black women in that light, even Black people as a whole, I mean, more often than not, there are so many Black shows that are out there that only portray negativity. And I don't like that. And someone actually, I was having a conversation with someone else, and they actually had to bring that to my attention, and I was like, oh wait, yeah, like
always trauma.
Yeah, there's always trauma. There's always, selling drugs or, whatever, just those negative things. And let me tell you, there is so much more to Black people than that. Okay? So I was really happy to see that. So kudos HBO, kudos Issa for, bringing that out to us.
I'm sorry, can I add something?
Sure.
Me too.
So we can go all day.
Sure.
But like, cause you said something and it triggered the idea for me about how Black people as a whole were showed. Black men in this show were showed absolutely flawlessly to me. And I mean that in like, even Lawrence, how he started off, I mean, bad words, but whatever. He started off in his bummy stage when you seen him, and then by the end of the show, he
grew
had
to
the come up, the glow up.
Hey,
Hey,
Yep.
hey,
he went from Best Buy to what's up?
Yes.
And
Hey Lawrence, hey Big Head. Hey.
or even like, oh my gosh, the guy Miley was talking to the first season.
Dro.
Not Dro. Oh my gosh, Jared.
Oh yeah.
And how the
Jared.
whole idea of him possibly being bisexual came about because he had that encounter with the guy, and how she was just like, "Oh my god."
Yeah.
And even still, he was saying like, "No, I mean, like I know I've had this experience, but like
trying.
I know
I
I'm
like
good.
it.
Yeah.
Right.
And it was nice to see like how comfortable he was projecting that, and how like they even made that a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you didn't have to. It wasn't
Right.
necessary, but it
Right.
was like, but this is something.
Right.
Right. This is real life.
Right.
This is real life.
Everything is
And-
not black and white.
This is real life.
Yeah.
This is real life.
And to piggyback off of what you said, kudos to HBO because they gave her. Usually, when we see black people on TV, it's either like you said, some crazy narratives, violence, whatever, or it's through the lens of how the people that's in charge see us and how they want us to be shown. Like HBO actually gave her that creative independence to where she literally created the show that she wanted, and it showed, and that's why it was so relatable to us, and that's probably why it resonated with us so much, because it was literally from an awkward black girl and not just some big corporation trying to, you know, show black people.
Telling us how we
Right. Telling that, right. How you gonna tell me?
So, knowing what we know about the show, because we watched all 5 seasons and kind of went back a couple times because we miss it so much already. Why do you really think they chose the title Insecure? Like, they could have chosen an array of different titles based on everything that happened. But why do you think they really chose the title of Insecure?
I'm gonna take a stab. For me, I would say because of the time period that Issa was in. She was in her 20s still, but her late 20s. And, you know, they say basically by 30 you should have it figured out. The light bulb comes on. That's what they say.
That's what they say.
So here she is, almost 30, and the guy she's been with for 5 years isn't trying to move forward. He's sitting on the couch, they staying in this bummy apartment, blase, blase. So it's like, but that's where most 20-year-olds are. That's where most people on 30 are thinking, you know, and like that. Another beautiful thing about that show is that it hit such a long timeline of people. Like, it didn't matter if you were 21 or 42. You resonated some kind of way. So that's what I was saying.
And I think the entire show was based around her insecurities, like her talking to herself in the mirror. That's her being in her head. That's her insecurity.
Yes.
And I don't know if y'all peeped at the end, on the last episode, she went to the mirror and she didn't talk to it. You know, it wasn't a dialogue anymore because she said, I had to get out of my head. And, you know, so I just think a lot of the show showed a lot of her issues were based around her insecurities and her being so stuck in her head. So, yeah.
What you think?
I agree with all of that. And I think, again, just back to before, we're all insecure in some ways, shape, or form. And so she identified with that. Not to be a cheater or a spoiler, but I'm like a big credits after the show
Same.
kind of person. I like to see, you know, who was involved, what was involved, what was the thinking. So I watched, you know, even the last part of that. But one of the points she made was that, you know, she had the Awkward Black Girl series. I think it was on YouTube. I never caught it, but
Right, I remember hearing that.
she said that, you know, when she approached and when they were talking about it, she didn't want to call it that. So I think she just decided to take it a step further beyond the awkward black girl and say, well, why am I awkward? Why, you know, why, you know, why do I come across awkward? Or why do I feel awkward? Because I'm insecure.
Yeah. I think that it showed each character's insecurity.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things that I really liked with Issa being the main character. They didn't just hone in on just her insecurities, but I feel like they showed each character's insecurities and also how the character's insecurity affected maybe the other person. You know what I mean? Lawrence had his insecurities. I mean, I'm sure there was insecurities about not being able to be a provider, the provider that Issa wanted, or, you know, live up to the standards that she wanted. And, you know, it was just like, I'm here on the couch again, and you've been at work all day long. Yes, Lawrence, that's not good. But I'm sure, you know, that was an insecurity for him. You know, Molly had her insecurities because she's this successful attorney, but can't keep a date, you know, can't keep a, you know, successful relationship or anything like that. So I'm sure everybody, and even Tiffany, everything was fine. It's just,
it's fine.
It's fine. Everything is fine, but it really wasn't fine.
Right.
But, you know, you're trying to hide those insecurities because she didn't want to tell them why her husband had been gone. Like because they're like, well, what's going on? So I feel like they did a really good job at exploring everyone's insecurity and not just focusing on Issa so much. So that was really good.
I agree.
Yeah.
So what character do you most resonate with?
I feel like I shouldn't go because I answered last time.
It's fine. I'm looking at you, so it's okay. It's okay.
No thought about it. It's gonna be Issa for me.
For any reason in particular?
That awkward black girl. No, honestly, I think just literally everything about Issa just was me. Like, the lover side of her wanted to stay with Lawrence even though he was down, but she had this belief. But at the same time, she's like, he cute. Daniel was cute. Yep. And Daniel had more potential going on. Was it at the right decision?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
But, you know, and even still, like, even her career, she wanted to help the community so much. And, but was helping someone else's vision, and to the point where she couldn't do it anymore. And me can't do it. And just like the little things, how the corny jokes she would crack, all of it, all of
corny
it.
jokes.
It was just, I was like, me, hey, hey, me in about 5 years.
I'm probably gonna have to say Issa too. And this show really resonates with me right now because I'm like, I feel like I'm entering that season of when they were like in their late 20s and just trying to figure everything out, and just how she started off in a career that she knew she did not have any passion in, and trying to realizing that's not going to work, it's not sustainable, and trying to finagle her way into finding her own lane. I feel like I'm literally going through that right now. And nothing makes sense, and that's probably why I love that show so much, because it shows eventually it's gonna all make sense. Like, just relax, like it's gonna all make sense. So definitely my girl Issa.
Okay. What do you think?
I'm always so complex.
I'm so interested to see what you gonna say.
I actually saw a little of myself in all the women. Issa, Molly, Tiffany, and Kelly. Issa, of course, because, you know, like you said, you're trying to find your way. You know, you're trying this, you're trying that. That doesn't work, and that's in all areas of her life. Like, I feel like she was, you know, trying out everything, and things just, you know, wouldn't pan out. So I definitely felt that. I felt like Molly appearing to have it all together.
Wow, that's good.
But really not.
That's good.
I felt, as well as Tiffany, you know, and Tiffany, in a sense where she wanted to have it all together, and displayed that, but she was still questioning, like, herself, and it was showing her that it wasn't all together. Like, her life was like, nah, sis, you don't got this all together. Right. Like, you can't fool me. Right. You know, it's me. This us. You know, and and until she was forced to be honest with herself when her mental health, you know,
Yes.
forced to be honest with herself and her friends
Yes.
and her husband, and saying, this is not working for me, I'm having
Yes.
trouble and I need help. And then Kelly, of course, the big personality, the big bubbly one. And not just the most hilarious thing to me about Kelly is when she said, when I died.
Yeah. That really struck a nerve for her.
You know, so if that was where what needed to happen for her to come to grips with herself and, you know, kind of step back and take a look at some things, I think that you know, helps. Well, I don't want to die.
Right.
Right.
to,
For sure.
right. You know, to have to figure some things out. But,
For sure.
you know, it just says that we all sometimes need to take a step back.
Yes.
And make sure we're approaching, you know, what we're dealing with.
Right.
You know, how are we approaching this? Is it most effective?
Right.
Is it, you know,
Being
is it
intentional.
honest?
Yeah.
So why do you think it's so hard for us to do that? Why do you feel like, as women, and I'm going to say specifically Black women, why do we always feel like we often have to put on this facade, like everything is okay, or I have to be strong, or, you know, I have to push through it? Like, why? Where is it written that that's what we have to do?
Because what do you get out of showing the vulnerability? Nobody's going to come and fix it for you. There's no point. Like, it's kind of a waste of time. You know, you have to be the person that's going to have to fix it anyway. So it's no point of me having this whole sob story. Nobody cares about what we feel, to be honest. Like, nobody is coming to save us. It's us. So it's like, it's kind of pointless.
I've been watching, I'm listening to, or, you know, seeing a lot of, you know, posts and videos and other podcasts who talk about Black women feeling the need and the pressure to be strong, or to be on top of things, to be, and it's just a historical type of situation.
Idiism.
We were, you know, we've always been expected to, and even if that's not the expectation, it's like you said, is what ends up happening.
Yep.
Yes.
You know, even based on, and not to make this so heavy, but just our place in the world, right? We are one of the lowest on the totem pole.
For sure.
So we have to endure so much. It's so much on our shoulders. You know, we have to take care of our families. We need to work. We need to be educated. We need to, you know, stroke the egos of our men. If you know, we have to, you know, pour into our children. We need to, you know. So it is so much on top of us, and so what we're, I guess, in the season of now is just normalizing. I'm sick of that term, but it fits here. Not feeling the need to do that, being okay, being vulnerable, and needing help as versus needed.
Yeah. And I think a lot of the reasons why we have such a hard time with being vulnerable is like what Noelle said, feeling like nobody is going to come to our rescue. I feel like we felt that way for such a long time. And is it okay if nobody comes to our rescue? Is it okay if we hit the ground one time? Is that okay? Like, I'll use grief for example. You know, when I lost my sister, one of the things that people always said was, you got to stay strong. You got to stay strong. For what?
Right.
For what reason? Because me staying strong isn't going to change the fact that I lost someone that I care about that much. You know what I mean? It doesn't change the fact that, you know, I'm crying myself to sleep at night, or, you know, my heart is broken or whatever. So what is that? What good is that going to do me? Just let me sit in this, and I feel like if I'm able to sit in that contributes to my healing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No.
Yes, go.
Not playing devil's advocate, because I don't feel like that's what I'm saying. But when have we ever heard something different up until now?
True.
Like, even if you take away the black woman, black people in general, we've always been in the past 300 years, we've been stuck in survival mode.
Right.
So,
Right. And getting out of that needs to be taught. We
Yeah.
wouldn't know because
and
it's generational.
yeah, and it's like, to bring it back to the black woman, because she's all of these things that we said, naturally off rip, a black woman is strong. Naturally off rip, she's a provider, she's a great lover, period. Off rip. It's literally born into you.
Right.
But I believe they shifted the narrative to, now it's the instead of it being, we look up to the black woman, we depend on the black woman.
Right.
So I think it's now coming back to us all that, okay, I am strong even if I'm crying.
Yep.
I am, beautiful with these puffy eyeballs. I'm going to get through it even if I'm laying in bed today, So I think, not to our own doing, but to our own doing, we're just now learning how to get back to that place, like Noah was saying, of teaching ourselves vulnerability and finding the comfort inside of that.
Yep. And just because you have the ability to do something or handle something, doesn't mean you should be expected to.
Or that you have
all
to.
the time. Or that you have to.
Right.
Like,
Right. Okay, so the ultimate question. Team Daniel, Team Nathan, Team Lawrence.
Lawrence, period. Duh.
Lawrence.
I'm always for soulmate energy. So
Same. And it was really like that episode where they stayed out all night and did dinner. And it was, come on. I can't. Like, don't get me wrong. Daniel was cute. Daniel didn't.
He was a moment.
He was a moment. He was really an itch that she had to scratch. Like,
Quote unquote.
Yep.
unquote.
Yep.
Real. Nathan was just beautiful. And the Houston accent is.
He had pretty eyes too.
Yeah, he has a beautiful voice.
So, what do you think, Camille? Team Daniel, Team Lawrence, Team Nathan.
I never felt Nathan.
Really?
Never.
I felt this.
I don't know why. I mean, I loved that he was into her. I definitely think that he was more into her than she was into him.
Yeah. I agree with you there.
At first and kind of throughout, but I was just never moved by Nathan. I didn't dislike him, but I just didn't. I was like, Nathan.
Didn't see it.
Nathan.
Daniel, I always just saw Daniel as a thing.
Right.
I got a friend that calls those type of people STDs, something to do's.
Oh, wow.
I love that.
Yeah.
Not STDs.
I always felt
Not STDs.
Wow.
STDs.
I like that.
And then Lawrence, I liked Lawrence even when he was on the couch. Like, he
Same.
stayed on my couch for a little while, just for a little while. I always
This
felt
would be her
I
text
always
in the group
saw
chat,
it.
like,
Like,
girl,
I
he on the
always
couch
understood
again.
why she liked him. Always.
It was just something about Lawrence, and I probably even could see his potential because he was smart. Like you like a techie IT kind of dude. You smart. You gonna figure this out.
You
for
go
sure.
right.
For sure.
You know, but I mean, I could see where she was frustrated though. You know, I could get that because it's my age old question. How long do you wait?
Right.
Question of the day,
All right.
viewers.
So yeah, how long do you wait on him to get it together?
Right.
You know, but so I totally felt her frustration.
Yeah.
But I always felt Lawrence. I mean, I don't know if it was just my own personal thing with Jay Ellis. I don't know.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
hey Jay.
Hey, Jen.
Again.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead. If I had to answer that question, I'm definitely gonna say Lawrence. First of all, because the energy matched. And I just felt like all throughout the series, they never got over each other, which is why they did a lot of bad things or made some poor choices. Poor choices because they were trying to get over each other. And in all honesty, I have to say that was one of the reasons why I really wanted to have this conversation, because I saw that in my own life. You know, I saw, you know, making poor choices because I was attempting to get over someone and it wasn't working. I was just making more poor choices. You know what I mean? So I saw that in myself and I could really resonate with that. And, you know, that's where I started to feel triggered. And I was just like, oh my goodness, did they read my personal journal?
Right.
What did they do here? But it was just, you know, with all the things that they went through and them finding themselves back to each other, like, for me, the biggest thing was him finally telling her how he really felt at the cookout, at the going away party for Tiffany and her husband. And I mean, even though Nathan was there and that could have went left really, really fast, but I just appreciated the fact that he went ahead and told her, you know, this is how I feel. I can't
let it go.
I can't let it go. I can't let it go. So definitely Team Lawrence, definitely. So I was happy to see, you know, on the final episode, like they was together, you know, and everything was all good. So my last question was there a specific scene out of the series that resonated with you? So I gave these ladies an assignment. I sent this question to them in advance so they would have some time to think about it. And let me tell you, I had a few minutes to think about it as well. So I'm going to tell you what my specific scenes were. My one specific scene was when Lawrence and Condola got into it. When Lawrence went to go pick up the baby and the baby was crying and she was going to hand him off to Lawrence and the baby kept crying and she was just like, no, you know, you can't take my son. Honey.
Thoughts, please.
I was so triggered right there. Not because I had that specific situation, but I mean, as a single woman, I'm gonna just keep it real, you know, as a single mother or whatnot. I remember times feeling like, no, I don't want you to take my child. Not because I thought that you were a bad provider or that you wouldn't take care of my child, but it was because of my own insecurities, my own emotions, my own whatever I was feeling about the fact that things didn't work out, my own, you know, feelings about this isn't the family dynamic that I had hoped for. So I remember having those feelings on several occasions. So that really, really, really resonated with me. Another scene that resonated with me was when Issa and Lawrence got back together and then Lawrence had to tell her that Condola was pregnant.
Oh God.
I almost fell off my couch.
That was hard.
Because I could feel like I could feel what Issa I just felt it.
Man.
I felt for everybody that's saying.
I just felt it.
Because it's like you don't even have anywhere to place your anger because he didn't do nothing wrong.
He didn't do nothing right.
He didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, he did nothing wrong.
He didn't cheat on her.
He told her as soon as he found
There's
out.
There's nothing he could do.
It was
It's just unfortunate.
Yeah,
because they was done and over with.
Yeah,
like he cut all his strings.
Yeah. So yes,
beautiful writing.
Right, beautiful.
I was not expecting that. I was not expecting that.
Absolutely. So those are my top two, and I'll stop right there. Okay. So Camille, what did you come up with?
So as far as just to comment on your experience with the handoff baby situation, I had the opposite reaction.
Okay.
And the reason I had the opposite reaction is, so we probably all have feelings towards something based on our own experiences or inexperiences. So because I've never experienced that, needed to hand my baby off to her father, just because that opportunity has yet to present itself.
Amen.
So my thought always, and that's just because of my own experience and not to negate what anybody else feels who has experienced that, but I'm thinking to myself, like, this guy is trying.
Yeah.
He is trying to make the best of a situation, the best that he knows how. He is putting forth effort. He is coming to be a father to his baby. Why are you stripping him of that?
That's good.
He didn't deserve that.
That's good. That's good. That's a good perspective. That's so good.
You know, because so many of them are not trying. So not to pat you on the back because you are being a father, because that's what you're supposed to be doing. You don't get extra confetti, right? Because you are being
supposed to be doing.
Right. But from her stance, then why are you standing in the way of that?
Yeah.
You know, what I wouldn't give.
Yeah.
Right.
Dang.
Okay, if he came and got her.
Yeah.
Right? So that, but I understand, you know, what you said and then and what her possible feelings were and why she did that. So I got that. I'm that type of person. I can empathize with both sides, you know, if it makes sense.
But thank you for bringing that out, because that's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge. And that was, I can be honest and say that was an aspect that I didn't look at it. You know what I mean? Because that wasn't my experience. Because I was on some trash.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
That wasn't my experience. So that's a really good point. Thank you for bringing that forward.
So that made me look at her like, girl, why you giving such a hard time, girl?
Right.
Get this baby out your house so you can go where you need to go,
Right.
do what you need to do, child free.
Take a nap.
Take a nap, go somewhere without, you know, I mean, it's just a baby, and I enjoy my baby 100%. Everybody knows that. Like, that's my road dog. But, however, I do be needing a little mommy time, right? You know, it's cool. And then after a couple hours, I'll be like, okay, that's enough. Y'all can bring her home now. You know.
Right.
So, you know, that was just my outlook on that dynamic. But what else did I also, to that point of Lawrence and Issa's relationship, I think that it was huge and big of Issa, even aside from her feelings for Lawrence, to even want to be in that situation.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, being, you know, with a man, you know, with a new child, you know, that's hard in and of itself, you know, because
I applaud her though for,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I applaud her for when she came back from the trip, her saying, I've been doing some thinking and I know I can't do this. I applaud her for saying that, because so many times women stay because they want to be with him, not realizing this is getting ready to change your whole world.
Yeah.
Like, this is
about
huge.
to change your relationship with him.
And it's going to change your relationship with him, and you have to deal with her. So, I mean, I applaud her for saying, I've been doing some thinking and never mind.
I'm good. Right. And, you know, just, I could say, you know, before I had a kid, and even now, I don't want to be with anybody with a small child. Right? Because that's a lot. That's being honest. I don't know if I can handle that. Right. If I can handle those relationships. Right? Just because I kind of know what it most likely comes with.
Right.
Not saying that it has to be difficult, but a lot of times it is so difficult. You know, it's very difficult. So just how big of Issa's character to, you know, still, you know, want to be involved, even though he's, you know, he's navigating his way through new fatherhood. I mean, and even though at the end, the baby was, you know, 4 or 5 years old, but still
grown up.
It's still new. You know? So, but I just want to also point out one of my favorite scenes, and I watched it. I can't tell you how many times, is the sequence when she threw the baby in the hospital.
That was the best.
Woo.
Let me tell you, I saw that on social media first. And when I was watching it on social media, I went, whoa. When it happened.
Not you through Ja.
Yeah.
Don't drop
Ja.
Not baby
Ja.
And it was just so off guard, because she just
I'm thinking it's real the whole time.
And when she was walking through the hospital, she saw somebody else was like, "You want
Right.
No, that
Yes,
was hilarious.
That was
hilarious.
good.
Yeah,
That was good.
so I love that. But let me just peek at my nose real quick. But yeah, that was a pretty strong scenes for me. And also Molly and Issa's thank you scene.
Yes,
in the
for
at the
sure. You
wedding.
stole mine.
I
Cried.
Stop.
Because it was so much packed into Molly's
Yes.
thank you. It wasn't just about her helping her
Yep.
out of her dress.
Yes.
And I knew that before she even explained
Yep.
it.
Yes.
Yep.
It was that thank you contained a lot because you did see Molly's character,
Yeah.
the character mature
Yeah.
and
So much.
develop.
Yes.
So much.
And be a little more honest and
Yes.
vulnerable with herself and Issa and everybody else. So when she humbled herself to Issa, and despite whatever their differences were last season, and the season opened with them, trying to work themselves back to each other. So that thank you at the end was pretty huge.
Yeah.
And then once she explained it, I think it had hit Issa too. So I like that. And can I just say, Molly's wedding was given best man.
Best man.
Please.
Best man.
Because I wanted to be at that party.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
that's a good wedding. Okay.
So Noelle, what was the
My
scene
scene.
that was
Okay, so I do have my scene, but I wanted to talk about y'all scenes. Did y'all do it? So the picking the baby up.
Yes.
Now, disclaimer: I do not have any kids, so it's only so much I can really say. I feel like I'm speaking from the kid perspective, kinda, because as I've gotten older, right now I've been going through this thing where like I've been really seeing how my mom. I'm like, how did you do this and then live regular life and have 2 kids? Like, how did you do this? Like, how did you do this by yourself? It's like, how? There's no way. So I've been going through this thing where I'm like, I guess really understanding the stuff she was doing and appreciating it. So when I watched this scene, because me and my friends actually had a whole conversation about this, I'm going to say I had no type of grace for Lawrence. Like, none. Because I just felt like you expect the baby to fit in your pre-existing world. It don't work like that, buddy, because that's not her life. It's the baby and everything else around it. You think, I'm trying, I'm coming on the weekends. You shouldn't have took the job. You knew the baby was coming. You still made a conscious decision and moved and came here on the weekends after, because we seen him texting, I can't come this weekend. He down there doing Lord knows what. And came back. You've never stayed with the baby.
Literally.
You've never spent the night with the baby.
Literally.
Don't know the baby routine at night and think that she's supposed to be, here you go to the baby. No, I'm going to be a little reserved and have a little, precaution, because this is a part-time situation for you, and that's not that with babies. It's not a part-time thing. Like, this is something that you just do on the weekends and then go home and whatever. No. No. And I'm like, I think probably now feel so strongly about it because these are things that I'm starting to have to consider, because at some point, probably soon, I'm probably going to want to have a baby or something. And I'm not doing the part-time. If I can actually be intentional, which I want to do with having a baby and bringing a child into the world with a man, I want it to be, I know it's not going to be 50-50 because as the mother, you're going to do more, but this is a partnership. You not coming in here and leaving out and doing this and lollygagging. Blah, blah, blah. You don't come see your kid. This not your little cousin. We're raising this together.
Yeah.
This is a joint. You're not babysitting. And it was giving me very much babysitter vibes and real like expecting her to be so cool with it. No, I really, and she was starting to get on my nerves. I really felt that. I'm like, no, you don't just, no.
Yeah.
And expect her to be fine with it. No.
Yeah. Yeah.
The heck? Anyways.
The heck.
So, but you saying that brought a whole different perspective too, because that's true. Like, if you just want that for your kid at least sometime, at least something, like just, I don't know. I feel like fathers, you step it up. I'm tired of expecting the bare minimum and being expected to be happy with the bare minimum. No. You need to be doing it just as much as my mama. No shade to my I hope. Let me just be quiet. But just looking back, I'm just like, ain't no way. Ain't no way. The stuff that my mama was doing, I'm like, I don't even know how you was doing this at this age. Like, I don't even know like how you would be doing this. And then it should have been somebody there just as much as you, just as stressed as you, losing as much sleep as you. So that's just my thoughts. But
shout out to my sister Tish who did that.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, she did her thing. She did her thing. It's no way.
And she's still doing it.
She did her thing. Like she did her thing and still, like you said, still doing it.
Yes.
Okay, so my scene was my scene. I got so many scenes, but I'm going to go with the Molly and the Issa scene too, just because I feel like a big part of this show was about the ups and downs of relationships with your friends. Like, it be like that. Your friend, sometimes you be going through something and y'all just not on the same page. It's not on the same page. But Molly was like, I know that regardless, we still gonna be good. Like, eventually we're gonna, because we meant to be friends. Like, and I felt like they showed, I feel like you have soulmates in your friends too. And I feel like that was real evident in them, that regardless of them, they still had that pull that they needed to be, they was gonna eventually fix it and be on the same wave. And I just like that at the end it just all came together and you can just see healthy relationships. And I just felt like Molly was just so happy and intentional and she saw her flaws and was actually actively, you've seen that throughout the whole season, actively making an effort to not correct it and not just be stuck in your bad parts of yourself. So I just loved to see them end off on like such a healthy part,
I would have been sad if the series had ended and they weren't
anyway,
friends.
right?
Oh my god,
right?
I would have been
right. Same.
Same. Yeah. So what's your scene?
I'm gonna copy off everybody. Oh, piggyback off that. Two things. One, I enjoy how Molly's love story happened without us expecting it. Like, we saw Molly chasing love the whole show, and then season 5, here comes this guy she didn't even like.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. In her face,
he didn't like her.
He didn't like her.
In her face the entire time.
In her face literally the entire time. And
because just real quick, I didn't trust him.
Me neither.
At all. Like, I didn't.
Me neither.
At all.
I was like, I don't trust this. I was waiting.
Yeah.
He was
at all.
so
I know
mean.
I just knew he was gonna irritate me.
We were so traumatized by her
Everybody.
relationships that I was expecting.
I just knew.
Yeah, him to be foolish.
And I enjoyed that because I believe fully that your soulmate, twin flame, lover, whoever you're supposed to be with, will come at the time where you are literally trying to love yourself the most and you're not caring if somebody else comes into your life. And I think that's what was happening with Molly. Like, yeah, she wanted the relationship, but she was so like, I'm tired of having so many failed relationships. I'm tired of feeling like I'm the problem. So I'm kicking it with me.
Yep. As soon as that happened.
Yeah.
And he's everything that you asked for.
Everything.
He
Even
mac and cheese balls with her.
Yes. So
in the closet.
In the
closet.
closet. In the closet, in the pantry.
Yeah.
I forgot what my second point was. Oh. And to the scene with Molly and Issa. I cried so hard because I felt like, Molly and Issa are having this moment in the show, but it felt outside of the show.
Yeah, you can tell.
Like, Yvonne is thanking Issa.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it was like when she said, I know that regardless, I'm going to be okay because we together,
right.
You're around. That, because watching that documentary, like, I know how I feel about Issa Rae. Because, like, as a creative, like, she just kept going and she just did it authentically. Like she wasn't trying to make a specific show or copy off of somebody. She just wanted to be the awkward black girl, and it literally got her everything. And she's so humble about it.
Super humble.
And
super humble.
Everybody on that show literally loved to be a part of the show because of her. And that's what all they talked about. And she just couldn't take it. And it was like that scene, my heart. my heart. So yeah, but my favorite scene, two of them. My first one would have to be the last episode where Issa is trying to talk to Nathan. And he's like, I can't do this, it's toxic or whatever. And she's just like, okay. And she get out the car. That, because based off, like you seen how everything ended with her and Lawrence, and she sliding down the wall after he done walked out. She didn't have to repair herself. Even when Nathan left the first time, she was messed up behind it. But she got to that point. It was beautiful to watch her get to that point and be like I love you.
Right.
It's
almost
fine.
like I'm choosing me.
I'm choosing me. Like I know I'm gonna be good. Like it's gonna hurt.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna be good. I think I might have forgot what my second scene was, but that's okay.
Can I add a second one of mine?
Sure.
Okay.
I'm trying to
So almost the very last scene when I think I mentioned this earlier, when Issa talks to the mirror, looks in the mirror, and it doesn't speak back. But and like I said, I just feel like that just represents her just completely getting out of her head, and and it just made me feel so complete. I was like, okay, like she's fine. Like wherever our fictional character is, she's gonna be fine. And then they start playing a song by this woman, beautiful artist named Cleo Soul, and it's called Rose in the Dark. And pretty much, I want y'all to listen to it, but pretty much the song is just about like telling your younger self you gonna be fine. Like it's all gonna work out. Like just chill, just enjoy the ride. Like you're gonna be fine. And so for that the song mixed with just the scene and just seeing her be literally fine was just too much for my little heart.
It was. I'm sorry.
It's okay. We can cut it.
You're fine.
I'm
sorry. Go ahead.
I remember what my second one was.
Go ahead.
It's not like one of these like really pop out scenes, but the episode where she's working with Crenshaw and they're telling her like, okay, he's doing certain things that we're not okay with.
Yes.
Can you tell him it? Like the whole episode, she's like fighting
Trying
herself,
to
like,
navigate that.
because I want this bag.
Yes.
You messing with the bag. Like, I'm with you, but the bag.
Right.
The bag. And I think as artists, oftentimes you get conflicted between, like, my craft and my money.
Right.
What's politically correct versus making that.
And it's like, we saw Issa take so many risks, like walking out her job and not having staying with Daniel for the awkward time, and then having to move into this apartment, but having to deal with all these tenants and everything.
Yes, that crazy girl downstairs.
Right, Trina.
My favorite tenant was the crib. The
blood. What y'all about to do with this pouch? But so it was like I could understand that like fear of like I just took one risk, I'm not ready to take another one, like especially with all they was trying to give her. But in the end, I think it was beautiful to watch him pick his art over anything and be like, I don't care, I'm standing on it, I take an L, it don't matter. It was nice watching her appreciate that and even admitting that she was wrong for doing that
and
coming back to it, because I think oftentimes we can say like there's plenty of people or plenty of artists that are out now who have compromised their work, and I think for you to stay focused on being an artist and not just commercial is a very hard thing to do present day, because there's a lot of commercial, I'm gonna be honest, there's a lot of commercial artists in my opinion, and to find an actual artist, it'd be like thank you. And I mean like on all surfaces, all platforms, TV, movies, music, all of that. That's why Insecure is like literally an amazing piece of art.
Amazing.
So Thank you.
I wanted to add to what I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I wanted to add to the point where Issa, came full circle about her insecurities and responded back to the her mirror alter ego, but also when she reached, her point and her understanding of herself, also in the scene at her office with Lawrence when she was just talking, and he just let her talk, she just talked it out, like I was in my own head. I was, she had, it seems like she had at that point identified what her insecurities were, and how, she had to step back herself and look at them as far as it relates to her career and, her goals especially. But I think it just kind of spoke to everything that she was thinking about throughout the series too. That she, she had disclosed that to him, and she was just thinking out loud. I think, it seemed to me she was just thinking out loud, and they kind of like let him like fall back, out of focus, and let her say
what she needed to say
these things without, being interrupted or without being concerned with what anybody else thought or had to say. So I like that part
takes
in
a
the
lot
scene.
of growth. That takes a lot of growth.
Yeah. And I also like not in the final episode, but the thank you episode after that, with the rap, the series rap. And like you said, everybody on that show, the characters as well as just everybody on staff, like they had so much to say about Issa and the way she approached, this endeavor, and how she gave them a chance, when they might not even thought that they would get the chance, and how big this would become once they got that chance. And I liked when Nathan's character, he was reading, off what he appreciated about her, and one of the things he appreciated was how she loved her city, and she, she highlighted her city intentionally on this show. And she even on another outtake said, when we see LA, we're used to seeing either the Hollywood, rich and famous celebrity part, or we seeing the hood gang, gangs, drugs, violence, whatever. She said, so I wanted to show that in between part, so I like the way that she did, highlight different areas and different, cities and stuff like that. So I'm thinking to myself, where was that?
Right.
I was so happy to see like some of the scenes that I recognized from Girlfriends, because y'all know Girlfriends is my favorite show. So I did recognize some of the scenes from Girlfriends. So I thought that was good.
Yeah, even all the way down to like the van driver who would drive them from.
Yeah.
He was so like thankful and grateful and appreciative.
Oh my God.
And wasn't it like she like basically helped him? He seen her at a gas station, and he was just like, or he seen somebody who worked with her, and he was like, I'm trying to provide for my family. Corona just hit me. I lost my job.
Yeah.
Wow.
He was like, if you could just help me out with something. She's like, well, let me see what I can do.
Got that man a job.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice.
Got that man a job.
Amazing. Well, ladies, I think that we can probably go on and on and on talking about Insecure, because
so much.
the positives outweigh any negative ever. Like, I don't feel any negatives about this show. I think this show was absolutely great. Again, kudos to HBO and kudos to Issa Rae and all of the producers and writers. Thank you so much for doing this for us.
Amen.
For the Black culture. We really appreciate it. And thank you also for doing it for Black women, and just kind of showing us, how to navigate through some of our insecurities ourselves, because I think that we all have them. Some have more than others. We're just all trying to figure out how to navigate through it. So I hope that you enjoyed today's episode of It's Worth a Discussion. We are just happy that you were able to join us. Hopefully you're able to catch up on Insecure and binge watch it. Don't stay up until 3 o'clock in the morning though, because you gotta go to work the next day. So don't forget to follow us on Instagram at IWAD Talk, or you can also follow us on our YouTube channel. It's Worth a Discussion. We cannot wait until we see each other again. Until then, peace.